This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on 6 July 2025. Welcome back to You've Already Been Hacked. Back this week with me is the Cyber Cowboy, and we are talking about inside jobs or a global takedown, some cyber attacks and AI on the front lines, and a little education standoff. So, this week, we are looking into disruptive ransomware that hit Ingram Micro to a DOJ probing of an alleged ransomware negotiator turned traitor. Let's get into it. Cyber Cowboy, first of all, welcome back, sir. It's been a couple weeks. How you been?
It is good to be back. I hate missing the shows. Had some family visiting, so that means I don't get to do anything I want. Right?
As always.
So appreciate you, carrying the ship without me. But I've missed this. I've missed you. I'm happy to be back, and I'm ready to get into this.
All right, we've all missed you. We've all missed you. All right, so let's get into it. Our top story: Ingram Micro hit by ransomware. Global supply chain has been disrupted. So, Ingram Micro is a $48 billion global IT distributor and has confirmed a ransomware attack shut down its major operations platform, Xvantage, and order processing systems. We have talked about how large infrastructure can be hit and just snarl everything. So this is almost not surprising to me at this point. The incident coincided with the July 4th weekend, triggering silence and confusion for resellers and MSPs across North America and Europe. And the ransomware group called SafePay is suspected of partnering with partners reporting complete loss of order visibility and fulfillment for days. Key functions impacted included licensing, back-end logistics, customer service workflows, and this paralyzed thousands of business-to-business transactions. The forensic response teams and law enforcement agencies have been engaged, but a full recovery timeline has yet to be confirmed. And here we are, 2, 3, 4 days later. Like I said, some of the implications here, and we've talked about this before, is it reinforces the importance of having diversified vendor relationships. All your eggs in one basket, not a good thing. It's a good parable of advice, no matter where we are, especially in cyber. Ingram's silence amid the confusion of what happened fueled outrage, underscoring the need for fast, clear external messaging. And we've talked about this before, and I think I mentioned that this was discussed at B-Sides in San Antonio by one of the presenters who was a lawyer, which is you don't want to add confusion by talking about what you don't know, but stating what you do know will at least help to blunt the impact, and it saves potential reputation damage that can occur from your silence. And then finally, breach readiness. Even if industry giants face exposure, routine tabletop exercises and ransomware drills are essential. And I know that Cowboy and I are really big proponents of tabletops and drills. I used to run a tabletop in the class I taught back at American University, and it was one of the most unique and educational experiences that my students ever had. Cowboy, thoughts?
Yeah, when I was active duty, I ran tons of exercises, some that I, wrote from the ground up, and you can do 10 of them and you change one variable, and I mean, it completely changes the game. So those are absolutely critical. I want to talk about SafePay just a little bit real quick for those that don't know. They're a newer ransomware group. They emerged late 2024, so you could say about less than a year old. And they're believed to be possibly affiliated with the Ruskies, the Russians, due to the presence of Cyrillic language exclusions in their malware.
You mean Cyrillic?
Cyrillic, sorry. Yes. Words are difficult.
Words difficult on recording day. Yes, it always is.
That's right. So fairly new coming out, and yeah, they as ransomware always does, sure causes quite the issue, and these companies have got to have they got to know what to back up more often than others, and they've got to again exercise this stuff so that they can get critical infrastructure and critical services up and running fast. Period. Dot. While they deal with
Yeah.
the outfall.
Yeah, I mean, even in the virtual SOC, I'm looking at changing some of our backend infrastructure, but um, the because I of the way things that are in the tech stack right now, I have to get something else up and running before I can do that. I'm not just going to leave stuff exposed, quote unquote, to failure, and change things over without having everything in place. So I'm sure these large companies have their plans and contingencies in place, but as we've seen, it takes one domino and things can cascade.
Yeah, and it happens fast. This particular group is known for rapid attacks. They're encrypting thousands of files within minutes and move from initial access to ransomware deployment in usually under 24 hours.
That's crazy.
So the speed of cyber continues to increase.
I would not be shocked if they are using some AI automation on the backside for that level of speed, quite honestly.
Yeah, there's no definitive, but the flags are there for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean that's my postulation, right? We don't know that, but the speed of attack from the speed from exploit to infrastructure to pivot to doing what they do. I'm not saying that they don't have expertise. It's obvious they do, otherwise they wouldn't be successful. But they could be using a little augmentation, which is not unexpected, right? I mean, we're telling everybody and pounding the tables that AI must be part of your tech stack. It must be part of your cyber defense. Why would we think the attackers wouldn't use it either, right? Like that's where my inference comes from.
Yeah, and they're not doing anything out of the ordinary. It's compromised credentials, weak passwords, vulnerable VPN gateways, all standard stuff. So,
All standard
yeah,
stuff.
yep.
All right. Let's talk about the next one. This one is near and dear to my former CI hat in my past. The negotiator turned double agent. The DOJ investigates a ransomware middleman. A former digital mint negotiator is under DOJ investigation for secretly profiting from ransomware payments he helped facilitate on behalf of clients.
Mm, mm,
Allegedly
mm.
accepting kickbacks directly from threat actors during negotiations, compromising victim trust. Digital Mint has publicly denounced this individual and stated it's cooperating with investigators, and this case echoes growing skepticism towards third-party ransomware facilitators and calls into question vetting standards across the cyber incident response space. Um, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about
What?
transparency, always a good thing. Auditing, probably needed. Um,
Mm.
Vendor vetting. You got to scrutinize these firms, especially if you're getting outside help. You want to demand, chain of custody issues are part of this. Uh, Clear billing practices, and yeah, maybe this is a little bit still wild west of cyber, right? I don't think there's a lot of regulation yet stating what a third party negotiator can and cannot do in this type of situation.
Oh yeah, you've got, I mean, insider threat all over this, right? And you're right. There's so many cyber air quoting cyber companies that are out there, right? And we've said on the show before there is more open positions than qualified personnel, right? So how are they doing their due diligence when you're hiring these third parties of like, hey, what are your hiring credentials? Who are you hiring, right? What credentials do they have? What certifications? How long have they been doing this? All those questions doubtfully get asked. I'm guessing these companies are just like, oh, I need a third party facilitator. Boop, Digital Mint or Joe Bob's cyber negotiating firm, right?
Yes, I want Joe Bob's. That sounds
Yeah,
great. We
everyone
should make
hires
that a
Joe
sub
Bob's,
brand. Yeah.
but
Actually, we should get that on a T-shirt. I think. Yeah, you're right. Right. Not enough mouths in the trough for cyber right now, and insider threat is just always the worst of the worst, right? Dare I say the Judas among us sort of scenario, but it's stuff like this that really erodes trust in our cyber defensive actors, right? Even if first party, second party, third, I don't care. If you're working on behalf of a victim and you're caught doing this, I don't know, and I am sure, and I'm going to say this clearly, I'm sure that Digital Mint, I'm sure they're a fine company. I am sure they do the best they can do, and they wouldn't exist and if there wasn't market demand for it. However, I, as a consumer who could potentially use their services after seeing this, would say, I don't trust that company right now. Why would I give them my business if they can't tend to their own house?
Oh yeah, the reputational damage is something we've talked about before, but I don't know if we've really hit home like how devastating that could be, especially within this business. So check this out. They're not the only ones. So a 2019 report by ProPublica said that there are numerous U.S. data recovery firms found secretly paying ransomware gangs while charging clients for the services without disclosing payments made to the attackers. So they're
Hmm.
paying them, making up numbers. They're paying the attackers 200K, and then they're telling these companies, oh, they wanted $1 million just for the payment, and then we're going to charge you to help you restore your services. So
Wow.
these, and you and I joke on the show regularly, like it's hard to be a good guy, right? We
Yeah, we're on the wrong
question,
side of the equation. I mean, look at
yeah,
this, and this is showing that again. It's
yeah,
crazy.
right. It's a cyber cop on the take, is what it is,
Yeah.
and it's um, uh,
Well, I mean, that
that's
makes
why
you
we
wonder a
talk.
lot of things. Like again, I mean, this is a societal level debate, right? I mean, are we funding these efforts at the level they should be funded at for the services provided, the expertise provided, and look, that is, I think, a red button issue. We do not have to go down that rabbit hole, but I think that's sort of these sort of incidents bring that up. Um, and if the bad guys are willing to pay 5, 10 times as much as the good guys, I mean, what is that saying? And if the quote unquote good guys here are the ones that are on the take, are they even charging enough for the services they provide? Or is the market saying we won't pay that regardless of what it's worth? Lots of questions come out of this when I start thinking about it.
Yeah. A silver lining of this is that, according to Coveware, uh, ransomware payments are actually on the decline.
That's good.
It doesn't say if that is a worldwide thing or just a United States thing,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's down pretty significantly, with about only 25% of companies hit in the last quarter of 2024 paid the ransom.
Well,
And
that's
as much as it hurts, that's the only way to stop ransomware
that's
ultimately,
really
right?
good. Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay. I think we beat that horse pretty good right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got. Why large language models are the future of cybersecurity? Hype,
Mm.
hope, and a little hallucination. All right,
LLMs.
yeah, LLMs. I love my LLMs. SOCs are adopting LLMs to accelerate incident detection, correlate threats, and auto document response playbooks. Cowboy and I are quite familiar with this for lots of reasons, some of which we will not specifically get into. Capabilities include parsing behavioral anomalies, auto mapping threats to the MITRE attack framework, and contextualizing phishing patterns. This is all super promising stuff, and I'm all for it. I know Cowboy is as well. But we have some yellow cards that we have to worry about. One, are the results hallucinated? Is there bias in the training data? The absence of explainability guardrails like RAG and structured prompting are all things that have to be considered when going into all of this. And while vendors are pushing for a hybrid AI SOC platform, human validation in that hybrid approach is absolutely needed. So there's a lot that Tom Factor. There's a trust issue in whether or not the AI is producing valid results, and we've talked about this before. How plenty of times AI will just attempt to best answer the question asked, regardless of valid data. So that's a problem in of itself that has to be addressed. Human in the loop, absolutely. Human in the loop has to be there. Human has to be the final check and balance. But we hear companies firing people left and right so that AI can take over, and it makes you question: are we collectively making those type of decisions too fast to ensure that we are providing quality in the output of the product that we're providing. I am not suggesting we are or are not. I'm just saying, have we asked that question? And are we getting the type of results we need to, not the type of results that we want? Um, yeah, so that's what I got. Cowboy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been directly involved with cybersecurity AI training, but I've been in some calls and discussions about it, and I've certainly thought through like how do you how do you train those models to not be biased in the data they're seeing? How do you train them to not to jump to conclusions, if you will, right? And yes, we've said it before. The I have little faith that most companies are not doing due diligence again in the air quoting AI they're bringing in to replace these people, because everybody says they have AI, and some are full of crap. Some have AI, but it's bad. Some have AI and it's good. And they just go, hey, you've got AI, I can replace 5 people. Great, bring it in. Right. And now you're getting garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, this is the way things are going to go. I don't see that ship turning at all. I just think that we need to make sure that we are deliberate in what we're doing and that we collectively are ensuring that the quality that the of the output we are receiving is what we expect and need. And I am wary of when vendors change their models on the back end and claim they're better, and you can see results, and people you'll get resounding results from just the open source community that the newer models are crap. Um, so the question is why? I think to get a quality model, and please make comments back to us because I am unaware of one today. I mean, White Rabbit Neo I know is an open source model that does a lot of cybersecurity stuff, and there's a couple others, but there are not many LLM models that are dedicated and focused to cybersecurity. Most models that are used in cyber today that I am aware of are broad spectrum models that are being system prompted for cyber. And I don't think that's the right way. I think we need a much heavier focus from someone to create cybersecurity focused LLMs at large scale, right? Not just 70 billion parameters, like full on fat models, something in the order of like, DeepSeek, I think, has 671 billion parameters, something in that order. There is the type of data for that. And I think that would be very helpful. But it has to be open source and we have to see what's going into that training and all that sort of stuff. And I think that would help a lot with the trust of the output.
Yeah, I think some of the better ones have, their software as a service where their AI models is running out of their data center and you're able to send some, if not all, of the data required to help those models get better. I want to know, how often companies are exercising their models, right? We talked about exercising to open the show. Are we exercising the AI to make sure it's giving us the output we expect, right? It's easy to write up some indicators of compromise and some other key data points that you can feed the AI model, and it should be able to give you, the 98% correct solution out. I don't think we're training. I don't think we're exercising them, right? It's that blind faith. Hey, I believe your model's good, and I believe it's telling me what it is supposed to be telling me, and that's a little dangerous.
I think that's really astute. I don't know. I haven't seen, and I'm sure it's happening, and it's just not being publicized, although it should be. That tabletops and in SOCs and in cyber defense sector type workplaces are involving the AI portion of that tabletop, right? If they're exercising it in their SOC, it should be part of their tabletop exercise for response. That would be really interesting to get a pool of data that shows that and shows how it was exercised and all that sort of stuff. That would be fantabulous.
Yes. I mean, you get weekly, monthly, quarterly reports most of the time from these companies. Yeah, I'd want to see a quarterly exercise report. Hey, we ran 10 scenarios past our AI. Here was the expected output. Here's what the output was, and here's what we did to make any changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, hugely beneficial for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah. I think I think your FFRDCs and places like that are going to be the ones that are going to have to lead the charge on that sort of stuff, because I hesitate to believe that private companies and maybe Microsoft will do it at a level, and maybe CrowdStrike would do it at a level, like one of our big cyber defense firms might do it, but I think that to get those type of quality open results, you're going to have to do it with somebody that does not have a vested interest in maintaining a level of privacy, but that's really not the word I'm looking for in the end results and methodologies, right? It's someone that's going to want that information out into the community.
Yeah. Most a company whose like sole business model is AI stock as a service or something like that. Sure, probably aren't going to want to put out like, oh, we were 50% last quarter in our exercise results, right? Companies are just
but
not
even
willing
methodology,
to do that.
right? Methodology and
Yeah.
framework to do it well and do it right, so that if you use framework X to include AI in your SOC exercises and tabletops, this is how you will get a quality result. It may not be the result that you want. It may not produce the percentage of success hit that you want, but the rigor in which you are flexing and testing, that will be standardized almost, so that you're able to get a result that you can compare and contrast against.
Yes.
All right, we got two more stories here. First, would you prefer the positive note or the less than positive note?
No, let's end on a positive note.
All right, let's end on a positive note. All right, so let's go with a Central PA cyber school is facing a lawsuit that says it is unreasonable for teachers to see students weekly. Okay. The Commonwealth Charter Academy in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's largest cyber school, faces a lawsuit over its policy requiring weekly visual and audio contact between teachers and all students. This is 2025. The plaintiff PAE SE argues the mandate is operationally unfeasible and breaches privacy expectations. School leaders claim the policy aligns with state rules ensuring student engagement in online learning, and critics say the suit could set a national precedent for remote learning accountability and oversight. So, yeah, remote learning. It's not a bad thing. I taught in classroom for American University. I'll say that. I taught remote for American University. And there was a policy in place on when and how students had to turn their cameras on or not, right? I set an expectation in my classroom that I needed to know that they were at least present and for the beginning of class, whether that was visually or audibly, so that I could call on them, right, throughout the class. Now, if they wanted to have their camera off for the majority of the class, so be it. Like I'm not there to cause angst and anxiety and all. But knowing that my student is actually present, I think is important for a student's participation. I disagree personally with PAESE on whether or not this is operationally feasible or not, but we'll see what the court says. Cowboy?
Yeah, I agree. While I've never taught in that type of professional setting, I've taught for the company I work for. I've taught in the military virtually as well. And you have to have steps to make sure people are present and paying attention. Like we have our steps when we do certain trainings that we're required to make sure we're there. Sometimes it's camera, sometimes it's not. Not a fan of having my camera on, but I've sat in plenty of meetings where I am listening, but I'm also writing an email or doing something else, multitasking, partially because sometimes I have to, partially because it's just the nature of the beast, being virtual, right? I still prefer to teach in person because the ability to engage the class is so much better. But yeah, like I agree. I can't believe they're saying this is unwarranted and unsustainable and breach of privacy. Like, give me a break. There's a middle ground, one, but two, you got to make sure, especially the younger the kid, the less likely they are to pay attention. I just Cyber Cowboy's opinion, as someone who gets distracted himself. Um, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's. I remember when I was younger, like, oh my, if I had to sit on a computer and learn something, like, I don't know if I could have done it when I was 17 years old. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that's ridiculous, and hopefully, it does not set a bad precedence.
Yeah, I hope not. As I am a supporter of remote learning. I think it opens the door and the opportunity space to more learners to get a quality level of education, where given their place and circumstance and geography, they may not be able to get the same level of education. I think that it requires a certain type of teacher to do it well. I think that it requires a certain type of student to absorb that knowledge well. Um, but I do not agree, again, on a personal level, and I am not a lawyer, and I will look forward to seeing what the result of this suit is. I do not agree with the plaintiffs in this case. I believe it is fully sustainable, and I do not believe it is a violation of privacy, especially when the student, the learner, chose to be there. No one forced them to sign up for that curriculum. And part of that attendance may be a requirement to know that they to have visual or audio representation that they are actually present. I do not see how that is a problem. But again, I am not a lawyer. I am not a judge, so we'll see what happens.
We're just judgy. There's a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference. All right, let's end on a little bit of a higher note. All right. Students launch a free pen testing nonprofit to help small, medium-sized businesses fight back. A team of cybersecurity students at Bowling Green State University, or BGSU for short, have created the Secure Signals Project to offer free pen testing to under-resourced small businesses. The virtual lab environment simulates enterprise conditions and provides hands-on forensic experience. In one incident, the team identified and contained a live breach within 24 hours, outpacing many commercial vendors. The effort is gaining traction as a scalable educational template for universities nationwide. This is awesome. Love it. And the fact that they're giving it away for free for those businesses that absolutely need that level of support, this is a win for everybody.
Yeah, God, amazing, right? It gives these kids experience. They're smart. They're helping the businesses. I mean, this is we needed 100% goodness across the board. You know what I mean? In the cyber world, because we sure don't get very much of it. So this is so great to see, and I kind of want to put a note in my feather cap to keep an eye on this. I want to see how it grows, and I want to see what other schools are getting involved. And I may reach out to some of the colleges I work with through some of my various working groups and stuff to see if they want to maybe reach out and get on board, because awesome.
Yeah, I wonder if we should reach out to Chris Cook at Cyber Patriot and see what he knows about it. That might be something worth doing, because this is amazing. This is the type of stuff we need to raise all boats. And the fact that they're giving this away for free, and that it is being used as a template at other universities, meaning it's probably what they're doing is openly available to a degree, right? Why not? Why not just take this information and use it to your advantage, or use their free resources if you qualify as a small, medium-sized business that is under-resourced? You should be using this. If you're not now and you didn't know about it, go look at what BGSU is doing, because this is exactly the type of stuff that's going to help.
Yes, I had to look it up too because I didn't know where they were. They're outside of Toledo, Ohio. I kind of laugh on the inside. I'm surprised their lawyers let them do this. The university lawyers, like, hey, we want to go pen test and maybe break something in the company. What could go wrong? I'm sure there's a lengthy, not a non-disclosure, but a lengthy something the small business has to sign that says like, we'll do our best not to break something. If we do, sorry.
Like an immunity type clause or something like that.
Yes. But yeah, we should. I think we should maybe reach out to some of our resources and see if we can expand or create a conglomerate who can do this.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's really good. I really, really like it. Okay, Cowboy, do you got anything else for us this week?
Yeah, remember, folks, your supplier's weak links are ransomware's golden keys. Patch the chain before they encrypt the whole warehouse. I am so glad to be back. I am Cyber Cowboy. I've missed you all, and thank you for listening.
And I'm the professor of CyberRisk. That's all the news for this week, and we'll see you again next time. If you like this podcast, share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support is how we are able to continue to make this content. Thank you.